Halloween 2 is directed by Rick Rosenthal and tells the story of Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, and Sam Loomis after the events of the first film. Michael Myers is still going around Haddonfield killing some people. Sam Loomis is trying to stop him, and Laurie Strode is at a hospital. And Michael Myers sets his eyes on the hospital she's in, and Donald Pleasance is trying to figure out what is driving Michael Myers to do what he does. Overall, this movie, I have to say, is not as good as the first film for a few specific reasons. And I'm going to get to my negatives first before I get to my positives. Because there is a lot of big problems here that cause so many things going wrong with the sequels in terms of their reception. The storyline of Michael Myers being the brother of Laurie Strode. I understand that the movie had to do something different, and maybe create a backstory is probably a good idea, but for the most part, it does undermine the mystery behind Michael Myers. The reason why he works so well as a villain, in my opinion, is the fact that you don't really know much about him or know what drives him to do what he does. He's just a man in a mask going around causing harm to people and killing them. But the movie wants to focus on why he wants to do what he does and why he is bulletproof. Well, not bulletproof, but he can't die from bullets. Obviously, there was something going on in the first film, but it was kept a mystery, and it would probably be a good idea to leave it so. Because a lot of the horror aspects of the film just did not work as well as in the first movie, because you know about him as a villain now, and that really undermines it. Also, another point of criticism, and this is pointed out by everybody who ever saw the film, the violence. This was a much bloodier film than the first. The movie was more expensive, where from the first film, the first movie was $350,000 to make, which was why they didn't use as much blood. Here they are working with an over $2 million budget, and so they have all the blood and all the practical effects they can use, and they used it. Mostly because they're trying to compete with other horror films that Halloween inspired, like Friday the 13th, and it really showed. A lot of the deaths felt very out of place when you compare it to the first film, where it's tame and mostly focused on the suspense instead of the kills. Here it just really focuses on the kills, like at the Friday the 13th film, and it really felt out of place. That was a choice by John Carpenter, who wrote the movie and reshot parts of the film so that it can be violent and compete with those other films. But that was a really poor choice in my opinion. But overall, despite those criticisms, I cannot hold it against it too much because I really enjoy this movie. The cinematography by Dean Cundey once again looks beautiful. Haddonfield feels more lively than in the first film because they were able to get more extras this time around. And Dean Cundey's way of shooting a hospital setting, while a hospital is pretty standard for a horror setting, it was shot beautifully. All the hallways and rooms were shot beautifully, and it was a very creepy hospital to be in for the most part. I really loved the setting and the way it was shot, including the town of Haddonfield. And just seeing how many trick-or-treaters there are, how many normal people, and how they act, it was great to see. And Rick Rosenthal's direction, for the most part, is very similar to the way John Carpenter would direct the first film, and it very much felt like it can take place right after the event of the first film. Rick Rosenthal did a good job replicating the look and feel of the first film, and for the most part, with the stuff he was able to work with and precautions he had to go through to get this film made, I think for the most part he has to be commended because he did a great job with what he got. Donald Pleasance is once again very good as Dr. Sam Loomis, no complaints there, but he's mostly the same character as he was in the first. Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't have much to do because she's in a hospital bed and she doesn't have much dialogue. And you could tell that that's a wig. But for the most part, she does a good job, especially in the third act. And the third act where things really gets good, because that's when Michael Myers is going after Laurie Strode once again. That's where Donald Loomis blows him up and he gets killed off. And he was gonna stay like that until the sequel, but we'll talk about that when we get to Halloween 3 and 4. For the most part, the writing is pretty good. It was consistent, but some of the office members in the hospital were pretty bad. Like, I didn't really care about them or their dialogue. They were just objects for Michael Myers to kill. That was it. But for the most part, the dialogue for Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasence and stuff they did with Haddonfield and Michael Myers, I thought was done very well. That's where I felt like the passion was in the script. So overall, I enjoy Halloween 2. Is it as good as the first? No. It was never going to be anyway. But there was a lot of things that this movie did that I felt like it could have improved it on to being a great horror sequel. But still, I enjoy the film, and I'm going to give Halloween 2 a B+. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.